Right then everybody, welcome back to Angler. Now today I am going to be reviewing something that I've been wanting to review for a while, and that is the Korum Grub feeders. And for me, what makes these feeders so interesting is, like with the map ones, there is a line clip on these Grub feeders as well. Now you will have to bear with, I have accidentally bent the rubber sleeve a little bit, so I've been trying to bend it back, and luckily it's not been too bad. But just before I do get into this review and talk about these feeders, I do want to say, if you are enjoying the content, make sure you hit the subscribe button. It's free of charge, it really does help me out. Don't forget to share this video and post your comments down below if you have one of these feeders. I've currently got one out on the alarm just under a tree near some lily pads, so I'm hoping a tench will take it or something. So let's get into this. So first of all, the price of these I think are around about £2 and some pence, which for me is a really good deal for a feed. I'm not going to go too much on about price, but for me it's a cracking deal. You know, you can't go wrong with that. It's pretty cheap for what it is. They do have, where is it, a little Korum badge right there, which is always a nice addition. And another thing I do like with these is the colour as well, the camo green. You can't go wrong with that. It's going to blend in on most lakes. And with these maggot feeders, you don't just have to use them for maggots. You can use them for pellets or ground bait. They're basically very versatile. And the actual proper name of these, I'm calling them maggot feeders, but the actual proper name is grub feeder. Now these are an inline feeder as well, so you can push the stem out and it'll slide all the way up your line, and then you just pull it straight off the line, which is, I always find that a good addition, because for me personally, if the wind picks up or the wind dies down or you don't want to feed as much, you can always just quickly change these, which I've always found that a very good idea. And then to get into these feeders, there's like a little notch just there that you put your finger under, and it opens up kind of like a door. And then what I do, I use it like a shovel to shovel the maggots up, or say if you're using micros, and then you just shut it and then you're ready to cast. Yeah, I've got to be careful sometimes not to trap the line in these, because I have trapped the line in these sometimes and it does get a little bit finicky. But it's something that, you know, you can easily do by just opening it back up and then doing it like that. So a few little negative things I've noted about these is sometimes the maggots can actually, it's kind of hard to see on camera, but where this back bit is here and the stem goes up through it, the maggots can sometimes sneak in the little gaps, and they can be very awkward to get out, and that, which is, like I say, which is something just to worth note. It can be a bit frustrating sometimes when the maggots do crawl into that bit, and they move around a bit, and sometimes you have to get like a little hook and just sort of hook them back out. Most of the time they will come back through when you just give the feeder a shake, and the maggots will come back through. But that is something to worth note, that they can get in that back bit. Also, they do these in different sizes and weights. I will put on screen, I think there's this one here is a 30 gram, I believe there's a 30 gram, a 40 gram and a 60 gram. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes with these maggot feeders. And I think, I can't quite remember the sizes because my memory's not the best, but as always I will put them on screen, and also you people can have a look yourself on websites like Angling Direct and different stuff like that. Now, a fun fact, the line clip I've actually never tested. I've never actually been bothered about testing the line clip with these feeders. I'm going to test it today on camera for you people, because like I said, with the map ones, I was never really a fan of them. I didn't think it, I didn't think it made a big difference, and it was very awkward to get the hook length in. We're going to find out if this little line clip will make any difference, because for me, when it comes to using a line clip, you'll have to bear with, the ducks are going absolutely mental in the lake, so they're probably just ruining the swim. But when using the line clip, I always feel like the reason they design it this way is so that if your line if your hook length is in that clip, your bait is going to be directly above the loose offerings that come out of this feeder. So we are going to try that. The current rod I've got at, that has not got a line clip on. I've just literally left the hook length loose and casted that out. We'll leave that out for about 20 minutes. We've had no signs. Yeah, I have seen signs of fish, but we've had absolutely nothing. So like I said, we'll just have to be patient with that one. But on this one, we are going to use the line clip. And as well, one thing I do like is this sort of like teardrop design, and there's plenty of holes as well for the bait to escape. You've got the top holes there and the side holes here. So it's a very nice feeder, like most feeders. You know, the design and the quality are always pretty good. But one thing I do want to test with these Korum ones is that line clip. Is it going to make any difference, or is it just going to be another one of them little gimmicky things? Because like I say, I've been using these quite a bit off camera, and I've been impressed with them. They've worked. But one thing I've always forgot to do is to use that line clip. But I did want to save it for the video to see if it made any difference. This is what I was talking about before. The maggot can sometimes get stuck down the side, and you just have to pull it out. Sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's a little more difficult. Okay everyone, so what I'm going to do first is, always with maggot feeders, I always like to hook the maggot first, because obviously if you don't hook the maggots first and you go filling the feeder up, there's a good chance that a lot of them maggots are going to escape. And it does release maggots quite quick, obviously, the more you fill it up. And say if you fill it up to brim, it's going to take a lot longer. But I'm going to use the clip. My theory is with this is, I always think, where do I put it? How short do I put it? But if you see here, if I put that in the line clip, it goes in very easy. And also another thing, it can be pulled out very easy. I didn't have to put much tension on. To me, all it does is it just shortens the hook length. But all I can think, if I have it that short, I have the Korum anti-tangle thing on. Will it tangle? See, already I've done a few things on that and it's tangled. So that's the reason I don't like the line clip, because see all this excess line here. Whereas if I pull it right up, if I do it sort of closer to the bottom, I'm just not a fan of these line clips, everyone. They don't fill me with confidence. So say if it was in there, and if we pull this bead all the way down to the bottom, that's going to sit and fall right near the feeder. But again, there's this gap here where it could get stuck. So I'm not sure really I want to be using this line clip, because I've only got one more hook length. And for me, I just don't think it works. I don't like the idea of the line clips. It does work well. It does, like I say, you don't have to put much elbow grease. And as you can see there, it was very easy and it fits in the clip. But you've got all this loose line, and even if it was a bolt rig, you've still got this little loop where if you were to cast it, it could easily get stuck in the feeder. As I said before, to fill them up, you just kind of use it like a shovel. You sort of scoop the maggots up like that, and then close that feeder down. And then there you go, you've got them all in the feeder. So that bit's good, but I don't think that line clip is any good. Whoa, we've got to take. That was a quick bite, that one. It's only a little fish, but it's a fish. That was absolutely rapid, that. I don't even think the maggots will have got away with that one. Tiny little perch. I can actually see the feeder releasing the maggots as well. And there you go, everyone. A lovely little perch on the Korum maggot feeder, so it's actually done its job. You can still see the maggot in its mouth. These feeders are good. They're easy enough to load up. I don't think they're as good as the Preston ones for me, just because I love how the Preston ones, you twist them, and they are super duper easy to load the maggots up inside the feeder, whereas the Korum ones, I like the design. I think it's one of the better ones where you just open that door and then sort of scoop them up. But for me, that line clip, I've said it before on the map feeders, I just don't feel confident in them. I just don't see the point in them. I feel like they're constantly going to tangle just because of the loop it creates, and I'm just not confident using using a line clip. Okay, so we've got the left hand rod out, that's without the clip, and then obviously the right one with the clip. So I have just casted it, not to them reeds because I did see some fish topping out, so I'll be surprised if we don't get a bite on that left hand rod. So far, it's been pretty quiet, to be honest, on the alarms. I have had a liner on the right hand one about 10 minutes ago, and weirdly enough that was on the one with the line clip, so it does make me wonder if that line clip is just bothering them and they're just not getting hooked right, or maybe they're picking the bait up and dropping it. If only we had an underwater camera to see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the line clip off, I'm going to put some new bait on and refill the feeder back up, and then we'll cast it back out. And if we do get a bite, then to me that line clip is just, it's not worth bothering with. I honestly would just ignore it. I mean, I did say throughout the video that I weren't confident in the line clip, and now I'm even more not confident after them few liners. It could have been anything, it could have been little fish. And check this out, people, it's actually come out of the line clip. Another thing I've just noticed, people, is that maggot was stuck on the edge in these little gaps here. I don't know if you can see them, they're sort of like just here. So again, it's something to worth noting. Like I said, one was stuck down the back end, it's just wriggled its way through, but that can be a nuisance. And like I said, compared to other feeders that I've done in the past where it's actually been fine, as you can see, my hook length did get stuck inside the feeder. It doesn't happen all the time, because like I said, I've had less problems than I've had bad ones. But for me, the big thing is when the maggots get stuck in the back of the feeder. That is one thing that does irritate me quite slightly with these ones. I can imagine these being better for something like ground bait rather than maggots. So I can imagine if you were to put ground bait in them, it'd be quite nice to try ground bait in these. So that's something I'd definitely say. Try on these, put a bit of ground bait in, because obviously with the sheer amount of holes with this, it'll work well with ground bait, and then obviously have your maggot on the end of the ear. So maybe that would be better than the maggots. Right then, everyone, so I've left it out for a bit. It's getting some liners, but it's not getting much action at all. So I thought I'd do my summary of the Korum grub feeders, and we'll just leave it out, and if we get a bite, we'll just run to it, and then I'll have to show you people when we do land it and stuff. So if I do keep looking that way, you know why. It's because you get a little bit on edge when it's on the alarm and unattended. So what is my opinion on the Korum grub feeder? I think they're all right. I think ground bait would work best in these. I think if you want sort of like an inline feeder and you want to use ground bait, I think these would be a very good idea. One thing I will say is hook lengths, sometimes they'll get snagged, sometimes they won't. That's just part of it. I've done helicopter rigs before where they get snagged on it. That just is what it is, but for the most part they do work well. Another thing to worth note, like I said, I do like the design, it is good. There is a little bit too many holes for me in the side, because your hook can easily get stuck in them, but I suppose if you want a quick release of bait, then that's a good thing. Like I said, ground bait I would find would be better in these over maggots or anything. The price you can't go wrong with, but the famous line clip, it's the exact same as the map one. I myself personally don't like them. I don't think they work very well. I don't find they give me confidence, and also I don't find they help me get fish any more than if I was to leave that hook length out of the clip. For me, these are a little bit too, they're a little bit too weak, like the hook length. Say if you get a bit of a fish will take the bait but then spit it out, the hook length easily comes out. And I don't see the purpose behind these. I just think they're going to cause you more problems than they are going to do you any good. It's not a bad feeder. It's not the best one out there. I've tested better ones, in my opinion. Like I say, if you do want to use ground bait in a feeder inline, then this might be a good idea to try that. I also will be versing inline maggot feeders against helicopter sort of style rigs, so definitely make sure you hit the bell so you're notified when I do upload that video. And if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like on it, post your comments down below, share the video around with anyone that you know is wanting one of these or has got one of these or is thinking about it, and subscribe for new videos every single week. And if you're fishing, have a good one.